witchy friends, it's Sage here, and I hope this day is finding you well. I don't know what time of the year it is that you're listening to this, but it's early March, so where I live, we're getting ready with the garden. We're having an early spring, so we've been doing a lot of prepping and starting our seeds, and we're looking forward to all those fresh herbs and veggies and fruits. I don't have a huge garden. Wish I did. It's not like we could survive on that garden alone, but it is a very, very, very nice treat, a little supplemental to our diets, and maybe I'll show it to you one day. For now, you might want to sit down with your notebook, your pencil, maybe grab a cup of tea, because it's time for another Wiccan Way Grove lesson. And this time we're going to introduce a very, very important topic. So my Grove students, pay attention. Okay, today we're going to learn about the foundation to, well, everything. It's the foundation to spiritual connection, or deepening and enhancing your spiritual connection to yourself, to your environment, to anything you hold sacred, i.e. your gods. It's the foundation of spiritual arts, of all magic, psychic work, of developing all these abilities. It's even a great foundation for most things in life, like self-improvement, changing things you want to change, such as bad habits or attitudes that don't help, or breaking bad cycles, or getting out of ruts, educating yourself, bettering yourself overall, achieving your goals. This foundation is something we're going to work on a lot in Grove. And if you've read my articles or heard any of my other videos or classes, you're probably going to be familiar with what I'm going to say anyway, but I can't say it enough. And you can't hear it enough. So let's go over it again for Grove, because it's an important part of your development in Grove. The foundation is a disciplined mind. It lays a foundation for all the work we're going to do later. And without that firm foundation, as we get more and more into advanced stuff, you're just going to sink. You know, it's like you need to have that foundation to stand on. It's going to help you, support you in all the more advanced things you do later on. And how you build that foundation? Meditation. And wait. It's not what you think. So wait, hear me out. If you're one of those people out there, and I know you all are out there, thinking, oh, meditation. Oh, I hate meditation. I'm so sick of all these books and articles and videos telling me to meditate. Or you might be thinking like, I can't meditate. I tried, I just can't do it. Okay, hear me out, okay? It's probably not what you're thinking, because I'm going to prove to you that you have been meditating. You've been in meditative states many times in your life without even knowing it. Meditation is something people seem to either love or hate, but it's often misunderstood. So, like we did with Wicca, let's strip it down and talk about what it really, really is, and what you can actually expect realistically from it. Most people who hate or claim that they can't meditate, they have their own idea about it usually, or they just got really bad advice. Meditation is an essential part of Grove practices, part of witchcraft, part of Wicca. So just hear me out and listen to my pitch. Maybe I'll change your mind, maybe not, but give me a chance. So have you ever been told that you should sit still, maybe with your legs folded, or maybe you've been told you should just lie down and be nice and still and just clear your mind? Yeah, that is the worst advice ever. Worst ever. Meditation is not trying to clear your mind. In fact, if you're trying to force your mind to be clear, You're kind of doing the opposite of what you should be doing when you meditate. Meditation is not sitting in some kind of trance or floating in some kind of void. Your mind doesn't go away when you meditate. It's all right to have thoughts. It's all right to be aware of your surroundings. It's not about trying to imitate a statue. You can move during meditation. Or you can sit still. Not statue still, but just as in a relaxed position without getting too fidgety. And contrary to popular belief, meditation isn't massively time consuming. Sure, it can take a little bit of time during the course of your day, but that can be as little as 5 to 15 minutes if you like. And if you did just that much, you'd reap tremendous benefits. And what it gives you in return is definitely worth a little bit of your time. It's like a shower. You can shower in 15 minutes or so. It takes time out of your day, but hey, you're going to feel a whole lot better when you do it. You wouldn't just skip showers for days on end because, oh, it's too time consuming. No, because you know what you're getting out of it. You know it's going to give you something. Without it, you're not going to feel right. So it's a worthwhile habit. It's worth a little bit of your time. And it's the same thing with meditation. It's worthwhile. It's a worthwhile habit because you get from it so much just by giving a little, and I do mean a little bit of time. Okay, so what is meditation and how long does it take? I'm glad you asked. Well, there's more to meditation than just trying to sit still and trying to force your mind to do things. Let's look at the dictionary definitions because that's always a good place to start when we're trying to get a base of understanding for complex issues. And in the dictionary, at least the dictionary.com lists meditation as to engage in thought or contemplation, reflect, devout religious contemplation or spiritual introspection. Contemplation of spiritual matters, especially as a religious practice. That's what the dictionary says. So, contemplation, reflection, introspection, being engaged in thought. That's not scary, right? Why is it that so confusing or so scary to some people? But it's really not. But why do we feel that way? That's because it's cultural. Meditation is hard for a lot of us because, especially those of us who've grown up in developed Western nations, we have low attention spans. We have attention issues. We live in a fast-paced society. We're encouraged to hurry up. We're encouraged to multitask. In fact, for many, many years, multitasking was the thing until in the last few years, all the research came out and said no. But to this day, people still think it's a great thing. We have all those stigmas about idle hands or being inactive, so the idea of just sitting in quiet contemplation scares us because it makes us feel like we're not doing anything, when actually we're doing a lot. It just may not look like it. But we feel, because we don't know exactly what our mind should be doing during meditation or what should be happening, like sitting there is just a waste of our time because we've been taught that it is. Just sitting there, you're being lazy. We have loads of distractions. So some people find it hard because, the kids are going to knock on the door, you're going to hear the noisy car horn from the neighbors, or the phone's going to ring, or you're thinking about checking your email, or you're remembering you got to pay the bills. It's hard to quiet the mind for some people because basically our minds were conditioned to hustle and bustle in the societies that we were raised in. Most of us were raised in. There's a lack of emphasis on mental discipline. And, that's just a cultural thing. Because other cultures are able to meditate. Even children, they don't call it meditation. They don't even sit down and like we have to force it. It's just part of what they do, and it comes easier because they grew up doing it. We didn't. We've lost that. In modern society, we're just like really impatient. We get more and more used to things coming quickly and push button benefits, and time meditation takes is frustrating. It does require some time and effort. It's going to take a little while before the benefits start coming, and those benefits are going to be exponential. So the more you do it, the better it's going to be for you. The more things are going to start coming your way that are really, really benefits from meditation. You may not get them a lot at first, and you may just get them a little, but the more you keep doing it, it's going to be even more, and the benefits are going to get bigger and bigger and just keep like a snowball rolling down the hill. Of course, part of the problem is that a lot of people just don't understand what they should be doing. We have bad advice. We've been exposed to bad cliches about what meditation looks like, sitting there, and there's nothing wrong with while you meditate or just sitting still for it, but TV, movies have made kind of a joke out of it. And because we're not really sure what our minds should be doing, we can feel a bit silly or a bit frustrated. It's like, a little bit lost because you don't really get it. It's foreign to us, and that's okay, because it can be learned. We're going to go over what your mind should be doing, how you know if you're doing it, how it makes you feel, how you can finally recondition your mind to settle down and be quiet for a little bit when you want it to. First off, let's talk about some of the benefits of meditation that I mentioned. There are many benefits. Meditation is known to have a lot of benefits, actually, and you don't need to be spiritual or practicing magic to reap these rewards. Even completely secular, skeptic, non-believers in spiritual things, they could benefit from meditation too. There's nobody who can't benefit from some type of meditation. It helps promote relaxation, reduces stress. For some people, this can lead to better sleep. It helps improve focus, concentration, memory. There are people who use meditations to fight addiction, to fight when they have chronic pain. Kids who meditate tend to learn better and to be better behaved at school. Some studies show that meditation may increase gray matter in the brain. It promotes better health and wellness because it taps into the built-in healing and rejuvenation abilities of your body when you meditate. And meditation helps to tap parts of your mind that are hard to access in other ways. Your intuitive abilities, your higher self, other realms, energy. Basically, it opens the door to those spiritual and magical activities that probably drew you to Wicca or witchcraft in the first place. So, how are you supposed to feel when you're meditating? How do you know you're doing it right? Well, there are so many different types of meditations, but basically, usually you should feel relaxed, yet engaged. You should feel focused, but not like you're forcing it. You shouldn't be demanding your brain to ignore distractions with your willpower. You should always be aware of your environment and your body, but focus on these things should be able to just fade. You may lose track of time if things are going well. You may zone out, or you may be in what athletes or creative people call in the zone, when everything else just seems to fade away except what you're doing, and you're just right there. You know what it feels like to be in and out of a meditative state, because you are in and out of them regularly. So just try to pay attention to when you're in them, and then you'll know how it's supposed to feel. Like, have you ever done anything where you're kind of on autopilot, like maybe you're daydreaming? You don't have to force your mind to stop and think of this or that. It just lets other thoughts fade away. Or if you've ever been completely fascinated by something, totally engaged in it. Like I mentioned, athletes getting in the zone when they're in a game and they're running and they're hyper focused on getting the ball across the line or something like that. They're not thinking about the crowds in the stands. They're not thinking about, they're just like a laser. And the distractions just vanish. They're not thinking about the achy shoulder. They're not thinking about, the slip in the mud. They're just going with it all. They're just living in the moment. And not just athletes get this. People who do art or music or dance might experience it once in a while. I like to paint, and there are times when I get so into it, I'll be at it for hours, and I don't even realize the time is going by. It's just like I'll be done, and I'm like, oh, it's late. And then I'll realize, like, oh, wow, it's cold in here. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm thirsty. Oh, I need to pee. None of that got in when I was just into my painting. And it could happen when you're in nature. You're just kind of reveling in nature and amazed by the beauty and the wildlife around you or something like that. Or when you're exercising. It could even happen when you're watching TV and kind of zoning out. Not when you're like really up on the edge of your seat, nibbling on your nails, going, don't go into the barn. But like, if you're just kind of like laid back on the couch and the TV's on and you're half paying attention to it, you're just kind of like, blah. Some people, if you're doing it right, sex, masturbation included, can put you in a meditative state. I mean, if you're doing it right, you will be, because you shouldn't be thinking about distractions, and your mind shouldn't be wandering all over the place. It should just be focused on what it's doing and enjoying what's going on. And some people drop into a meditative state when they're driving. You ever just like drive all the way home from work and then realize you don't remember the drive? You weren't paying attention to it, even though you were paying attention to where, you got home, you took the right route, you didn't crash, you didn't cause any accidents, but somehow you weren't, parts of your mind weren't paying attention. It's a meditative state. Some people get into that when they're walking or biking or even when they're doing chores. So, like I said, there's different kinds of meditations. And when you're in a meditative state, your state of consciousness is altered. But you go in and out of these states all day, every day. It's the path your mind takes from the sleeping states to the waking states and back to the sleeping states. So it's inevitable for you to go in and out of them, all of them, throughout the day. You just have to learn to recognize when you're in certain states between being totally asleep and being totally alert and engaged and energized and doing something actively. You have to learn how to do it on demand, basically. But it's something that you do. So just like, instead of just letting it happen, it's still going to just happen. Learn to do it when you choose. Now that you know what it's like, it should be even easier to do it than ever, because you won't stress and fuss going, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? So you can do this. You don't even have to sit still to meditate if that's your problem. Like I said, people can do it while they're doing sports or art or chores or driving. So if you can't sit still, if you don't want to, if you fidget too much, you don't really have to sit still. You can be in a meditative state through your ritual and spells, which is necessary. So you really do have to learn how to meditate while being up and walking and moving. That's something everybody has to learn anyway. So if you have trouble sitting still, you may be ahead of the game in that area. Just do moving meditations. But it's also good to do the reverse and work on your still meditations too, because that will help improve the discipline. You don't have to do it for a really long time to reap benefits either. In fact, it is way, way, way better if you practice consistently than if you practice for a long time. It's better if you meditate just 5 to 15 minutes a day, or even several times per week, than it is for you to try to meditate sporadically for really long periods. Some people think they can make up for lost time and go, oh, I haven't meditated in a month. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate for an hour. It's not necessary. You get all the benefits you need out of meditation if you can devote 20, 25 minutes per day doing it maximum. Doing it longer doesn't help you do it better, especially if it's sporadic. You are better off meditating for 2 minutes a day. That's an hour in a month. 2 minutes a day is better than taking 1 day a month and sitting there for an entire hour. Because it's the consistency that really reaps the benefits, not the sporadic. Once in a while, if you haven't meditated, it's fine to say, okay, I'm going to just meditate and relax myself. That's fine. But if you really want to learn, you need to do it consistently every day or every other day. You need to try to devote a few minutes to it even. And if you're just able to give those few minutes and keep up with that consistency, it'll make a world of difference. As opposed to you do it once and then 10 days later you try again, and then you let 3 days go by, and then you let 2 weeks go by. It's just not going to be as beneficial to you. And once again, myths about meditation that I want you to forget include clear your mind. You don't need to clear your mind. Instead, I want you to simply decide where you want to direct your awareness and just redirect your mind back if it wanders. You aren't going to be blanking out or oblivious or be like you're in a dream or unconscious. That's a myth. I mean, there are some very deep meditative states where you can go into a trance, but you're not going to get to them for a while. Don't even worry about them. You may never even choose to meditate that deeply. That's going to be your personal choice. But you are going to be able to retain your awareness. You're going to be able to choose where you direct your focus. You don't have to be a statue. That's a myth. I'd rather you twitch, swallow, or scratch in the beginning especially, rather than sitting there fretting over, oh my God, I need a scratch. Oh my God, my back aches. I wish I could just stretch. Just do it. Get it over with. And then redirect your awareness back. You don't have to devote lots and lots of time to it. That's also a myth. Just consistent time, but not tons of time. In fact, if you're really new to meditation, I would like you to start out with just 1 or 2 minutes per day. And you can build that up to whatever you're comfortable with. 5 minutes, 15 to 25 minutes is also, it's a good range to strive for, but you don't need to jump into that. It could take you a long time, however much you need. However much time you need to work up to that much. Get there slowly. With that, I'm going to urge you, if you're a Grove student, to head over to our forum and discuss meditation more, or look up the assignments for this lesson so you can do them. Different types of meditation, techniques, and everything. They're things we're going to come back to again and again and again. Just consider this a little introduction. As long as you're in Grove until you graduate Grove, and honestly, if you're a Wiccan or a witch, or just very spiritual, you're going to have some forms of meditations as part of your practice for as long as you're practicing it. So if you had a shaky relationship with meditation before, try to wipe that slate clean. Let's start with a new, fresh understanding and a positive attitude towards it. And it's going to be worth it. You'll be glad you did it. So links are below. And thanks for watching. I hope to see you around the Grove. and I hope you have a magical day. Bye.